I love this. Bringing in Mike Sullivan as head coach was great. Boosting the blue line with Vladislav Gavrikov was awesome. But if the Blue Shirts want to be box office on Broadway, they'll need their all-world goaltender to have a prolific performance throughout the entire season. Can he do it? I break it down in just a moment on another sizzling edition of Rangers Digest. Welcome back to Rangers Digest. We are built for Blue Shirt fandom, and I'm your host, Bret Botfeld. It is great to be back with you guys on this wonderful Wednesday, the 13th of August, and we have a lot to get into today, folks. But before we do that, a quick reminder that about 77% of you who currently watch these videos are still unsubscribed to the channel, so please hit that free subscribe button down below. We greatly appreciate it so you can stay up to date with everything happening New York Rangers. Not only that, guys, so you can be part of something special here at Rangers Digest. Let's waste no more time and hop right into today's video. So today we're going to be talking about Igor Shesterkin. This is from ForeverBlueShirts.com. They do a fantastic job over there. And as you can see, the 2022 Vezina Trophy winner is coming off the first down season of his career, 27, 29, and 5, with a 2.86 goals against average, 905 save percentage, but he was still 7th, 5th among goaltenders who played at least 45 games in Money Puck's rankings of goals saved above expected with 21.6. He was also durable, starting a career-high 61 of New York's 82 games. So as you can see here, folks, Shesty did not have a difficult time when it came to stopping difficult shots. The problem with Shesterkin this past season was the fact that he faced way too many shots, way too many easy opportunities for the opponent to get on goal. Not only that, but there were a ton of situations where you'd expect Igor Shesterkin to make a save and it would creep through the 5-hole or it would go above his shoulder top shelf. And these are the type of saves that we became accustomed to seeing Shesterkin make. But as you can see here from this quote, he didn't have that difficult of a time when it came to those acrobatic type saves. We know he has those cat-like reflexes, extremely mobile and flexible, but there were just too many scenarios this past season where easy pucks were able to find the back of the net. Moving right along, Travis Yost from TSN Hockey came out with his latest talent tier ranking, grading the goaltenders throughout the entire NHL, all 32 teams heading into this season. And as you can see here, guys, the Rangers are one of 3 teams in Tier 1. You can see it's the Rangers and Igor Shesterkin with the Winnipeg Jets and Connor Hellebuck, along with crosstown rival New York Islanders and Ilya Sorokin. Obviously, we have the back and forth with Islanders fans when it comes to who's better, Shesterkin or Sorokin. I'm going to go with Shesterkin. Both are great goaltenders. You can see 2 of them are here in this Tier 1. So only 3 teams out of 32 Travis Yost has in his Tier 1 rankings heading into the season. And I truly believe a lot of it has to do with the fact that, Igor's been on a bit of a decline here the last few seasons, but really coming off his true first down season. But nobody expects that to continue. Obviously, the Rangers have gotten better, strengthening their blue line, bringing in players like Gavrikov, Scott Morrow, getting rid of guys like Keandre Miller who just turned the puck over way too many times, and the opposing team got too many fast break opportunities, too many easy goal opportunities on Shesterkin. But like I said, it's not all because of the takeaways. It's also the fact that he let too many easy goals that we're used to seeing him stop hit the back of the net. I expect that to not be the case. Mike Sullivan coming on board is going to be a great addition. This is a coach with a resume. This is a coach that brings defensive structure. He brings tenacity. I believe he's going to get the best out of Shesterkin and the defense. Moving along, this is from Yost as well. He says Igor Shesterkin may be the best goaltender in the league outside of Winnipeg Jets goalie Connor Hellebuck. Yost said of the 29-year-old who became the highest paid goaltender in NHL history after signing an 8-year, $92 million contract last December. The contract, which begins this season, carries an annual value of $11.5 million. So as you can see, the Rangers were in that tier 1 with the Jets. And Yost is saying that outside of Hellebuck, he believes that Shesterkin is the best goaltender in the world. The one thing I will say is, Shesterkin is a little far removed, few years now, from that Vezina trophy, so he has something to prove this upcoming season. But like I said, there were a lot of factors at play. Last season, everybody took a step back. There was a ton of drama, a ton of chaos, ton of turmoil in the locker room that seemed to have an evident effect on everybody, every player on the Rangers, even those as great as Igor Shesterkin is, Artemi Panarin, Chris Kreider, etc. All these players took a step back. So Shesterkin definitely has something to prove, but like I said, the defense is better. You added a few players on the blue line that are good at blocking shots, which is going to help Igor because that means he'll be facing less shots because, as you know, we've seen it the last few years, Igor faces way too many shots from the opponents. We saw it in the playoffs against the Florida Panthers in 23-24. It felt like they were getting damn near 50 shots per game off on Igor Shesterkin. So we certainly expect to see a turnaround there. Moving along, since I alluded to the playoffs right there during the 23-24 season, I just want to take an overall look at Shesterkin's playoff resume. As you can see here, these past 3 seasons, he has been money, lights out in the postseason. Look at that 929 save percentage, 931 and 927. Simply elite. Now, I was just talking about the 23-24 season. Let's not forget that a ton of elite goaltenders in this game have had a hard time against the Florida Panthers. We saw Andrei Vasilevsky struggle mightily against the Florida Panthers. We saw Connor Hellebuck the past few seasons not be able to make it out of the second round. When it comes to Igor Shesterkin, this is a goaltender that, quite frankly, keeps the Rangers in a lot of these games, keeps the Rangers in a lot of these series when they seem outmatched against an opponent like the Florida Panthers. Let's not forget during that series, although he was 2-4 because the Rangers lost in 6 games, he had a 930 save percentage against them, a 2.25 goals against average, so really elite stuff from Shesty. Moving along, I want to get into Stanley Cup odds for the 25-26 season. This is FanDuel's latest odds. And as you can see here, the Rangers, I was just talking about the Winnipeg Jets and Connor Hellebuck a second ago. As you can see, the Rangers come in at plus 2,500. They are number 12. They have the 12th best odds, according to FanDuel, to win the Stanley Cup, which is really interesting because let's not forget, the Rangers finished 13th in their conference, not 13th in the NHL, 13th in their conference, yet they have the 12th best odds to win the Cup. That is really odd to me, but like I said, a lot of betting, bet makers out there, places like Vegas, FanDuel, DraftKings, etc. Nobody expects the Rangers to have the season that they just had. There were a lot of factors at play. We all expect Shesterkin to bounce back. We all expect, an uptick in tenacity, physicality, snarl, compete level under 2-time Stanley Cup champion Mike Sullivan. So as you can see, a lot of people throughout the league believe the Rangers are in store for a bounce-back season. 12 is a little generous, for my liking. I still believe the Rangers will make the postseason, but do have something to prove here. But man, you can see just behind Winnipeg, Winnipeg has the 11th best odds, the Rangers at number 12. And that says something, guys, because let's not forget, Winnipeg just won the President's Trophy. Yost was talking about how Hellebuck is the best goaltender in the world. But like I said earlier in the video, guys, when it comes to the postseason, Connor Hellebuck struggles. When it comes to the postseason for Shesterkin, he thrives. And that's why when you take a look at these odds, despite the fact that the Jets won the President's Trophy and the Rangers were 13th in their conference, that confidence in Shesterkin, that confidence in Mike Sullivan, that confidence in the players that the Rangers have, because a lot of people talk about the fact that Mike Sullivan coached, Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, Chris Letang, But let's not forget that Mike Sullivan has a couple prolific players here on the Rangers as well. He's got Artemi Panarin. He's got Adam Fox. He's got JT Miller, Igor Shesterkin. So there's certainly, there's enough firepower here, enough prolific players here for Mike Sullivan to compete in the Eastern Conference. And like I said, I believe they will return to the playoffs and make some noise in the wide open Eastern Conference. I truly believe the West is a juggernaut, much harder than the East. The East is competitive, obviously. The Metro is competitive, but I believe the Rangers will make the playoffs and make some noise in the Eastern Conference. One more thing I want to get into here, while I'm talking about Mike Sullivan, is a quote that Bret Botfeld said recently to Molly Walker, and we're going to get into it right now. So here's Bret Botfeld talking about Mike Sullivan. He said, "I've talked to Sullivan a couple times, just being in the area, being at the gym too," Botfeld said. "He's awesome. Everything I've heard about him is awesome. Super excited to get started. I think for me, kind of not focusing on that stuff and if my game plays well into his game. I think I do things that he likes from his players. But yeah, for me, it's just continuing to play my game with confidence, bring my speed, my energy, my tenacity, and hockey sense to put it all together." That's what Botfeld said to Molly Walker. She's a Rangers insider, also works for the New York Post. And this is a great quote from Botfeld because he's right. Mike Sullivan does, he does like a player like Botfeld, brings that, aggressive forechecking ability. Mike Sullivan loves that, brings that speed, that tenacity, that snarl, that north to south style hockey that I believe Mike Sullivan will implement with the Rangers, and they will be better for it. They played an east to west style of hockey these last few years, catering to players like Panarin, Zibanejad, etc. But now with JT Miller here, young players like Berard, Othman, I believe the Rangers are going to implement that north to south style of hockey. That is really crucial. We see great teams do it in the NHL right now. I believe it'll be beneficial for players like Mika Zibanejad, etc. You want to attack the opposing team's goal. You want to get more shot opportunities, more volume, more, like I said, play with that speed, play with that snarl, play with that tenacity. That's what the Rangers are looking for. That's what they lacked that past season, and I truly believe that with Mike Sullivan, he will bring it. I truly believe that Shesterkin will bounce back and have a great year for the Rangers. But the question is, what do you guys think? Do you guys think Shesterkin will have a bounce back year? Do you think he will be a Vezina Trophy finalist? Do you think he will win the Vezina Trophy? Make sure you leave a comment on X. Give us a follow at Rangers Digest YT. It's in the description down below. The conversation always continues over there and in the comment section as well. And if you haven't hit that free subscribe button, hit that button so you can stay up to date with everything New York Rangers. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys. We'll talk soon.